Hey everyone, welcome to Eye to Eye. Is there a link between childhood vaccines and autism? The CDC says no, but a new court case is raising some doubts about that. Sharyl Attkisson spoke to one congressman who's leading the call for more research into the safety of vaccines.
When you learned about the polling case and the concession the government made, the government didn't even have to be ordered to pay, the government conceded that the child's resulting illnesses were because of the vaccines. And part of the resulting illnesses include autism or autistic symptoms. What goes through your mind when you hear about that case?
Well, as a physician and a biomedical professional, I looked at the pathophysiology of what this child had. One of the things that I've wondered about for years is why do most kids have absolutely no problem with their vaccinations? And why are all these parents of autistic kids saying my kid got the shot and then my kid deteriorated? Is there a correlation there? And specifically, do these children have some sort of underlying problem or feature of their metabolism that causes them to be predisposed to having this kind of a bad reaction? And that case really caught my attention because it could be kind of a missing piece of information to explain why at least some of these children who appear to have autism develop after their shots, why it may be happening.
What does it say to you that the government has now affirmatively conceded a case in which autism was the result? Even though they're not saying vaccines caused autism, they're saying vaccines caused an illness in which one result was autism. The government has been telling the public for over a decade that there's absolutely no reason to be concerned about any link.
Well, I have a lot of concerns about that. Obviously, the biggest one is just public health, the welfare of our children. Our most precious commodity, our most precious possession is our children because they are our future. But we had Secretary Leavitt of HHS in front of the committee, and I said to him and the chairman of the committee, Mr. Obey, that there are some huge issues associated with this. Obviously, one of them is we need to maintain public confidence in our vaccine program. These vaccines prevent very serious, devastating illness, and we're not doing enough research. And that if it is ever shown scientifically that these kids were getting this terrible condition because of these shots, that the federal government would be liable in court to provide for the health care, and in some cases, if they're really badly disabled, the support of these children for their lifetimes. So this is a very huge issue, not just on a humanitarian level, but as well on a financial level.
If the government were to make a statement about what's going on or about the theory of a link between vaccines and autism, do you think it's fair for them to still say, as of today, there is no conceivable possible link between vaccines and autism or autistic symptoms?
I wouldn't recommend they say something like that in light of the polling case and the admission on the part of the government. What the federal government really needs to do is step up the level of effort and get answers to these questions. Now, I've been prodding our research agencies like NIH to do more and more, and they have been investing more in autism research, but they're not getting the answers, and what people want are answers to these questions. Are these vaccines safe? Is there a link or is there not a link? And we haven't had the good, rigorous kind of independent research that we need. And until we have that, the federal government, I think, is going to just engender erosion of confidence on the part of the American people.
Is there any way to figure out which children might suffer a side effect from vaccines and help make it safer for them?
Well, that has always been my hope, that there would be some kind of a test to determine if a child is prone to a vaccine side effect. The polling case is a very interesting one in that regard. There are measurable abnormalities in her metabolism that have been decided in a court of law that played a role in her developing autism in response to the vaccine. So we may have a simple test someday that we can do on all newborns and make a determination as to whether or not they can be safely vaccinated. And then what you would ideally like, once you were able to identify these kids who maybe were prone to vaccine side effects, that you would develop new vaccines that they could safely take. Because let's face it, just because a child might be prone to develop side effects from a vaccine, it doesn't mean we don't want them vaccinated. We still don't want them getting diphtheria and tetanus. And I believe our science is capable of coming up with vaccines that are safe for maybe all children.